I was captured on the Tuesday morning We were captured on the Tuesday morning at dawn after we jumped. We were taken back about 40. We were captured at Arnhem on the Tuesday morning after we jumped. We were taken about 40 kilo back almost on the borders of Belgium, of Holland and Germany, and placed into cattle trucks. There were roughly 50 or 60 men to a truck. The wounded were put into a separate truck and allowed to have straw. There were no toilet facilities in the truck, and they were locked the whole time. 2 guards to a truck. We traveled south right down the Ruhr Valley and saw the bombing and the state of Cologne, Duisburg, Dusseldorf, and ended up after 4.5 days at Frankfurt.
We had a couple of days rest at Frankfurt. After that, we were again put in cattle trucks. We ended up at Stalag HC, Sagan, another 4 days journey. Our rations were half a loaf for 4 days and 1 drink of coffee. After reaching HC at Sagan, we were put in groups and sent out on working parties. Both of us were sent out to work at Breslau.
On the commando that we were working at, we were suddenly roused out at 1 o'clock in the morning for destination unknown and to march for evacuation. Our rations for the journey we were given at first a half a loaf and some margarine. Marched in batches of 300, and in all about 25,000 of us. The postons, that is the German guards, were given bicycles and were one approximately every 100 yards. And the dogs, the German guards had dogs, they marched in front and behind of each column. We were not given any facilities for water until we finished the day's journey. We were traveling at approximately 20 kilo a day.
Well, this march carried on daily, with our rations a quarter of a loaf a day, with a little margarine, cheese, or anything like that. No hot soups. We just had a drink of coffee each morning. Conditions were very bad. It was German winter, and there was plenty of snow, rain, hail, and very, very cold. We still didn't know our destination, but we carried on marching every day, and the Germans wouldn't tell us where we were landing up at. Until finally, after 8 weeks on the road, we landed up at Hanover after covering 500 miles across Germany.
With the sick. At Hanover, we were placed in a military camp which was run by the organization Todd, that is the German workers. Here, the very next morning, without any extra rations or medical treatment of any sort, we were marched 8 kilos to the railway to work. We lost men on the march who were too weak to continue the 8 kilo, and we were supposed to work until 6 o'clock in the evening. That was a 12-hour day. But there was practically no work done. The men could hardly turn a shovel, and we marched back. This went on for a couple of days, and then the men were absolutely exhausted and refused to work the whole camp. The Germans did nothing about it, but the treatment in the camp was very, very bad. The man in charge was an absolute rogue, and the boys received nothing more than they were getting on the march, no medical treatment. The camp had been bombed by the RAF and the Americans, and it was pretty easy to break away. And when we heard the news of the American advance break through at the Rhine, we made a break for it a couple of nights before, met a Frenchman who hit us up, and here we are.
Good.
By God, what a day. Yes?
Yes.
And boy, were we pleased to see that first Jeep, eh, Jack?
Yes, sir.